In the mid-1980s, Mark and Donnie Wahlberg were the founding members of a boy band called New Kids on the Block. Remember them? Well, soon they took the music world by storm. Around that same time, their brother Jim was heading down a way different path behind bars.
Jim Wahlberg comes from a large Boston family of 11, where he felt lost in the shuffle. By age 12, he was a lonely, addicted street kid. And by 22, he landed in prison for the second time. Several of Jim's brothers are famous in the entertainment world: Robert, Mark, and Donnie Wahlberg. As for Jim, he wants to be known for how God changed his life. He shares his rescue from addiction and encounter with Mother Teresa in a new book, The Big Hustle. Jim concludes that no one is beyond redemption.
And Jim Wahlberg joins us now via Skype. Jim, welcome to the 700 Club.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
I read your book, and I got to tell you, I couldn't put it down. Fantastic, The Big Hustle. What was it like growing up in the Wahlberg household? There were nine kids, right?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, growing up as a young boy with 9 kids, I'm the middle child. And I had parents that most of the time worked 2 jobs each just to keep food on the table and a roof over our head. So, you know, I was starved for attention. And I started to look for that attention outside of the house almost immediately.
So your childhood and teen years were pretty much marked by drinking, drugs, and then you had a 5-year prison stint at the age of 17. What was going through your mind at this point?
You know, I honestly just thought I was crazy. You know, I mean, at 17, I got sentenced to prison, but from 12 to 17, it was a series of in and out of juvenile detention, foster homes, group homes, halfway houses. So I was well on my way already. I never connected my substance abuse or my alcoholism to my trouble. I just thought I was crazy.
You know, and that confounded me when I was reading it, because I thought, no, this is just you're not crazy. You're just a confused kid who, like you said, needs attention. And it broke my heart, those where you talked about you'd sneak out, you'd basically run away from home and end up sleeping in the dirt somewhere. You know, it was somebody's house, but they had a little place that you could go, and you literally slept on the dirt for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that was a process. So that person, like many other people, had showed me kindness, right? And first they allowed me to stay in their home, and then their mom found out there was a guest that she didn't know anything about. And so I went from the inside to the basement to one of the neighbors finding me until finally sleeping under their front porch. You know, I mean, they were doing the best that they could, and I was really oblivious to just how bad my circumstances were.
A few months after getting out of prison the first time, you went back to prison, and before long, a priest offered you a job as a janitor. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I'm back in prison. I'm doing a long time, and the only thing I know is I don't want to do a long time. If I did the entire 9-year sentence that they gave me, I was going to be over 30 when I get out, which is prehistoric to a kid. And so I started to make I was trying to create an illusion that I was trying to get rehabilitated. And the priest took notice of me and the fact that I was trying to rehabilitate myself, if you will. He approached me and offered me a job cleaning the chapel. And I thought, this is great. I thought I was going to just take advantage of the situation. I was going to take advantage of access to a phone, coffee, a peaceful place, etc. And ultimately, I was going to hustle him. But, you know, he ended up hustling me. Right after I started working there, he suggested, you know, you should come to Mass on Saturdays because I need you to clean the chapel after Mass. And it'll just be easier for you to already be here, right? So he got me back into church. And then not long after that,
I got to get to this question. Who was the big, well-known person that you met when you were in prison that changed your life?
Right, so Father Jim Freitas says to me, we have a very special guest coming in 2 weeks. Mother Teresa is coming to this prison. And I said, oh, this is fantastic. Who's Mother Teresa? I had no idea who she was. And so when she came, finally, I clearly knew that I was in the presence of somebody very, very special. And, you know, when she got up to speak at the mass that they had in her honor in this prison, she talked about that God loved me and that I was more than my prison ID number and more than the crimes that I committed. And that was the first time I ever heard those words, that God loved me and that he wanted nothing but the best for me. I never heard that before.
You know, and you've been sober now 30 years, is that right?
A day at a time. I've been sober for 32 years, yes.
Wow, congratulations. That's amazing. Well, you've recently released a film called What About the Kids? So you're sort of in the movie making business. What can you tell us about that?
So that film is my 10th or 11th film on the subject of addiction. And it's done through a very faithful perspective. And it looks at the children that are left behind from overdose death. And so the star of the film is an 8-year-old girl, and she's just unbelievable. And the story's powerful, and it pulls right at the heart.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for writing your book, because it clearly shows that no one is beyond God's grasp. No one is too far gone. And it's an incredible ride. If you want to get Jim's book, it's called The Big Hustle. It's available nationwide. Jim, God bless you and your entire family.
Thank you. God bless you, too.